My reminder for you today and for myself is that it's not all about you. Hey friends, welcome back to my channel. As you know, I love to encourage you guys here with things that God is talking to me about. And today we're going to have another short chat about one of those topics. Today's topic relates to our mindset in following God to places that He has called us to in our life, or to do things that He has called us to do. I kind of just had this revelation about this topic, or about myself, though. I realized that so many times I don't follow God, or I don't feel as inclined to do something if I don't see the benefit in it for myself. I mean, that's how people operate in our world, right? That's a very worldly way of thinking. We just think about ourselves. So if we don't see the benefit for ourselves in doing something, generally we're not going to do it. I mean, it kind of makes sense, I guess. But being a child of God and being someone who's committed to seeing His kingdom come here on this earth and who wants to be part of what God is doing, well, we just have to realize that the picture is bigger than us. Accepting Christ, accepting the truth that's laid out for us, that, you know, life is bigger than us and there is a creator and a bigger picture than us. We're invited to be part of this bigger, amazing, beautiful story. And that's actually what makes life worthwhile, makes life beautiful, because life isn't just about us. It's not just about, you know, doing the things that please us or pleases our flesh. It's about serving God. It's about serving His people and being part of a bigger story, being part of His story. Okay, maybe you have a few options on your plate in front of you about something you can do, maybe a job you can take or something like that. If you've been with me for a couple months now, you know that we recently moved, and I'll link that whole story. It's a crazy testimony of how God provided our new house for us. I'll link that down below so you can watch it. I definitely suggest to watch it if you just want to be encouraged by a cool story. But personally, in that story, I kind of tell you how it was more my husband who felt led to move out here. I talk about the inconveniences of our previous place and what would be like more convenient and whatnot, but I just didn't see the bigger picture. But in that scenario, I personally trusted my husband hearing from the Lord, because he really felt from God that we were supposed to be out here, and kind of that whole story confirmed that. But I feel like it was that scenario that got me thinking about this, that moving out here might not just be about us. Maybe He has a different plan for us. I just got to thinking that life's not all about my conveniences or even what I can envision, because yes, I can envision certain benefits of moving to where we moved. I didn't have such a clear vision of my personal gain that I was like, yes, we need to move here. But God is speaking to me that it isn't all about me, and I just started to think, okay, maybe this is really important for my daughter's development and just friends we're going to connect with here, or maybe it's important because of our neighbors or what it's going to do for my husband and work. There's so many things that I obviously don't know, and I don't know my future. But God does. He knows your future and my future. And when He leads us, so many times it takes that faith that we are required of as believers. God says that it's impossible to please Him without faith. And faith is such an integral part of our walk with Him. But yeah, I feel like on a practical level, so many believers don't even like have faith actively, you know, required in their lives. Like, there's no gap there for us to actually rely on God or trust in Him for something, if that makes sense. Like, we don't create that gap for Him where we are dependent on Him or where we really need Him to come through. And I think that is a shortcoming of myself in the church as a whole, is we're just so self-centered. My main point in talking about this is I just want you to remember, just as I'm remembering, is life's not all about me, and God is going to ask us to do things and we're not going to fully see how they're going to benefit us. And in those times we can take joy knowing that God is inviting us into something bigger than ourselves, and that is a really, really exciting place to be. And what's also awesome is that God says that He works all things for good for those who love Him. So everything that He calls us to, like moving to this place, has been the biggest blessing, and I honestly have a smile on my face about it every day. I thank God and truly feel grateful for this house every day. My mom will come over, and honestly every time I see her, I'm just like, I'm so grateful for our house. Like, I just have so much gratitude, and I didn't have that full vision of that when He, you know, called us out to move here. But we did trust that God was going to bring us out here, and He did, and it's truly been better than we both can imagine. We're both so happy, and even though I didn't have the vision, God has worked this for the good of me, and I know that we're here still for reasons that I don't know. Our scope is so small in our lives, and so many things unfold, you know, as life unfolds and time passes. And I know there's gonna be so many other purposes for us here and just ways God uses us. There are already other little things that I could go into, just clear things that God has brought us here for that aren't about ourselves. And not even just the thought of benefiting like other people around us. Maybe it's gonna benefit us in 5 years, like somewhere where our mind can't even imagine. Like God could be calling you to a job that you don't have the vision for today, but maybe something is gonna happen in 3 months and you'll be really glad you had that job. You know what I'm saying? We just have to trust God in in the not knowing, and in particular trust him when we don't see the full benefit for ourselves, and recognize that that is a good thing. Honestly, those things can be scary sometimes, like when we step out into something or do something that isn't aligned with what we want or what we see. You're risking yourself when you do that, but that's really exciting because those are the times that we see God come through and do something. You know, again, we have to create those gaps that require faith in our lives in order to see him show up. And if we never create those gaps where faith is required, we will never, you know, see him manifest in our lives. We'll never be part of his bigger story if we're only making choices that make perfect sense every day, that benefit us clearly. Let's take more risk and do things out of faith more together. So I hope this spoke to you today, and the next time that you feel like God is leading you to do something but you don't see the clear benefit or reason for it, that you just say yes and go for it anyways, because that is what you're called to do, and God absolutely will come through for you, and it's going to be so good. So just jump and go for those things that God is leading you to do. I would love to know down in the comments if there's something right now that this is speaking to you about, like something relevant that you are deciding to do, or if there's something in the past that you went ahead and did because you felt God was leading you to do it even though you didn't understand. I would absolutely love to hear that story if you want to share it with us. Also, I want to do more Q&A, so if you have any questions for Q&A, leave them down below in the comments and I would love to answer them in an upcoming video. I love you and I hope that you have a beautiful day because you're absolutely worth it, and I'll see you in the next video. Bye!